Hello, welcome back to the Cars.co.za YouTube channel. My name's Ciro De Siena and this is a 2006 Subaru Impreza WRX Prodrive. Now, I love this car, and one of the reasons why I think it's so wonderful is because it's mine. Yes, I bought this last year and I bought it for less than the cheapest car in South Africa, which is a Suzuki Espresso. And I can quite confidently tell you that this car puts quite a big smile on my face, bigger than I'd imagine I'd have on my face if I was driving an Espresso. However, today I'm not actually here to talk about my car. We've made a full film on this car, so go check it out on our channel. Today I'm here to talk about the brand new Subaru WRX. And I think because I own one of these cars and I drive it almost every day, I think I am well placed to comment on the new WRX and to tell you if Subaru has got its groove back.
Dream, search, drive. Cars.co.za.
Fafty Clerk knows that no matter what you've done for your country, and the ladies, you can still get caught with your pants down. Don't faff around, just claim via WhatsApp and get paid out quick fast. Budget, the official insurer of good South Africans.
Now, I really could go on forever about why I think this is such a fantastic car, but in summary, it just feels like it was built for the driver and everything is just right. The controls are right, the gear shift is right, the weight of the steering is right, and then of course you get the symmetrical all-wheel drive and the low center of gravity from the Boxer engine, and it all just combines to make for a wonderful driving experience which just doesn't feel like anything else. A Subaru just doesn't feel like anything else on the road. And I've always wondered why Subaru wandered away from this formula. It seemed like such a great formula. But I think recently at Subaru head office, there was an argument because this new WRX is quite different. Now here's where I think Subaru lost their way when it comes to their WRX and their STI in the last couple of generations. I think that they went after the wrong segment. The reality is that if you want a luxury sedan that's about this size, you can choose between an Audi, a BMW, a Merc, a Volvo, you can go buy a Jaguar, you can buy a Lexus. There is a huge amount of choice in that segment. But if you want something like a Subaru, the only thing you can buy is a Subaru. And so when this company with the starry badge went after that segment, I thought to myself, I don't think that's really the right way to go. But I'm happy to report that with this generation, you pretty much get the best of both worlds. And the reason why I say you've got the best of both worlds here is because not only is the ride supple and not only does it deal with road imperfections really, really well, but it also does something that Subarus do better than almost any other car on the market, and that is that it corners flat, and I mean flat. I think that's what I appreciate most about this WRX. There's no air suspension, there's no electronic dampers. It's good old-fashioned suspension engineering. And what that means is that this is a very pure driving experience. It's a very pure sports car experience. And then you couple that with a manual gearbox. Yes, a manual gearbox. I'm sure you've noticed while you've been watching my video that this left hand of mine is actually doing things. Like I'm actually having to row through the gears. Let's go, 5,000, 6,000 RPM. 0 to 100 comes up in about 6 seconds, but of course that just depends on how good you are at launching and changing gear, really. If I have one criticism of this engine, is that the rev line comes a little bit faster than you'd expect it to. It's at 6,000 RPM and it just feels like the engine has longer legs and they should have let it run a little bit longer. So you have an excellent chassis, excellent suspension, excellent manual gearbox, fantastic engine, and all of that combines to make for a sports sedan that makes me feel like I'm driving my car, my old Prodrive. Except in here, it's just a lot more comfortable. And then there's all the little touch points which remind you that you're in something quite special. You've got this contrast stitching on the leather steering wheel. The leather steering wheel is flat bottom. You've got contrast stitching with leather on the doors, leather down here on the center console. And I love the fact that they have stuck with good old-fashioned analog dials. I think a sports car needs analog dials. I must be honest, I appreciate the tech in modern cars and the fact that you've got a big screen in front of you, but I want dials in my sports car, and that's what Subaru have given me. So this car is full of safety tech and full of tech. You've got 8 airbags in here, massive touchscreen infotainment system. If you go for the automatic model, you get things like autonomous emergency steering, autonomous braking. It'll steer between the lines for you. It's called Eyesight 4. It's a very, very clever system. You've got driver eye monitoring. The car can actually tell if you're drowsy or if you take your eyes off the road. It really is a tech fest in here. You can even jump in the car and it will read your face and then set up the car for you based on your preferences. It really is very impressive. And then you've got the ride and the refinement, which is as good as anything else out there. It rides so well, it really does. The ride quality is excellent. So this test unit that we have has the optional sports exhaust, which is only a 15,000 Rand option, and I think it's worth every cent. There's something so unique about the sound of a Boxer 4. Your V8 sound is, everyone knows what a V8 sounds like. V12s, V10s, they all have signature sounds, straight sixes. But a Boxer 4 has a rumble, a bassy rumble, and it's so unique and I like it so much. And that's the first thing you notice about this car when you turn it on, is that bass. Man, love it. Listen to that. I suppose with this exhaust you have to make a trade-off, because I've got to be honest, it does drone at highway speeds. But when you're cruising around town and you're going through the gears, you get that lovely roar. And yeah, you just got to make a choice. Do you want it to be quiet at highway speed, or do you want it to sound awesome the rest of the time? And if you don't want the sports exhaust, you don't have to have it. Save yourself 15,000 Rand. Hello again, you join me now on the outside of the cars, where the first thing we notice is that my car has a massive silly rear wing, where the new car only has a small naff little spoiler, unfortunately, and this is what has appealed to Subaru enthusiasts for decades. However, my car only has one pop and some water in the tail lights, but let's not focus on that too much. When we move over to the new WRX, we see that it now has 4 pops, which is extremely important. And I want to tell you a bit more about these tail lights by reading from this car's official press release. The glow of the combination rear tail lights is designed to be representative of volcanic magma and symbolizes the same potential power that resides within this natural phenomenon. I think Subaru are getting some Italians to write their press releases, because that's some very flowery language which the Italians are more known for. If we move towards the front of the car, we see that the new car has a sunroof. My car does not, unfortunately. When I'm talking about the wheels, my wheels look cooler because the brake calipers are painted red and they say Subaru on them. Both cars have bonnet scoops, which of course is very important to Subaru enthusiasts. But for me, the most impressive feat of engineering here is that even though the car has grown considerably and become laden with tech and airbags and all of these comfort features, the weight of the car has only gone up by 80 kilograms. That's it. And so all of that power doesn't have that much weight to carry around. Now let's talk about this engine. 2.4 boxer 4 turbo, brand new power plant, 202 kilowatts, 360 newtons. Now, in a world of Golf 8Rs with 235 kilowatts, Honda Civic Type R, 235 kilowatts, north of 400 newton meters, this does seem a little bit outclassed. However, if you look at it compared to, say, the GR Corolla, it has almost the same amount of torque, but of course a bit less power. The thing is, from generation to generation of WRX, the power has only gone up by 5 kilowatts. And I feel like Subaru could have just cranked it up a little bit. It feels like they're being a bit conservative here with the power. 215, 220 would have put it bang on with the GR Corolla. And I think when it comes to performance cars and especially performance hatches, the numbers matter. That's what petrol heads get together and talk about around the braai. And you don't want to arrive at the braai and your car has the least amount of power. And another thing to consider when you're looking at that power figure is that it's a good 20 odd kilowatts more than a Golf GTI, but this car and a Golf GTI are listed at almost the same price. That's something to think about. So is it actually fair to compare it to a Golf 8R? All that being said though, this car is considerably cheaper than any of those other cars that I've mentioned. You don't have to tick a single other box unless of course you want the awesome exhaust. Now let's talk about STI, because there will not be an STI version of this generation. Subaru have announced they're not going to make one, and they're going to be developing the next STI, which will be all electric, which kind of brings a bit of a tear to my eye, to be honest, because STI is just such an iconic nameplate, and the cars over the years have always just been such wonderful cars to drive. I like how they've always had silly wings and stupid wheels. It really appeals to me. And that's another thing I've always thought that Subaru has always done very well. They've always been a little bit silly, but in a really appealing way. And if I have anything bad to say about this generation of WRX, is that it's not silly enough. If it was me, if I was in charge of Subaru, I'd make the WRX and I'd make it available with all of the options, all of the silly wings, all of the silly wheels. And then I would definitely make an STI version. And the reason why I've compared this car to cars like the Golf R, the GR Corolla, the Honda Civic Type R, is for me, that's what a WRX is. That's the car it competes with. And I think that Subaru, by going after the 3 Series, the Audi A4, the Merc C-Class, the Lexus, the Jag, the Volvo, I think they've lost a little bit of that, and they didn't really need to. But the reality is, it's not too late. This is an excellent platform from which to develop a wonderfully appealing, wonderfully loud, wonderfully silly car. And I really think they should do it. I really think they should backtrack and go ahead and make an STI and make a silly version of the WRX like the Prodrive did with my car. Yes, at 800,000 Rand, maybe this is out of the budget of a lot of performance enthusiasts, but the reality is that the silly car is going to draw the guy or the woman into the showroom and then you sell them something else. Subaru has a wonderful range of family vehicles, but I do think that a car with a silly wing on the back will pull people into showroom floors. So to answer my question from earlier, yes, Subaru has got its groove back. This car feels and drives exactly like it should feel and drive, at least in my humble opinion. They've just got everything right here. The engine is sweet, the chassis is perfect, the suspension is wonderfully old school, it corners flat, the manual gearbox feels fantastic. I think it looks good, it sounds good. It ticks just about every box that I would want a Subaru to tick. And while my car cost 300,000 Rand when it came out in 2006 and now this costs 800,000 Rand, you do get a fair bit more kit, I must say. My Prodrive feels like a bit of a budget car inside, and this really doesn't. So I think if you are in the market for a sedan, for a practical car, for a car that you can easily do the school run in and then do mountain passes on the weekend, I don't think there's anything else on the market quite like this. Thanks very much for watching. Now, if you're new to the Cars.co.za channel, we have over 660 videos on the channel right now. So go and check out our back catalog. If you're looking for a car review, you'll probably find it there. And thanks very much for supporting our channel. We are the largest motoring channel in South Africa. And the aim is to just keep working hard and bringing you the latest in car reviews and drag races, classic cars. We try and cover everything.
Cars.co.za.
You deserve insurance that doesn't faff around. Budget, the official insurer of good South Africans.